Okay. Sorry. I'm going to talk about a project that we had at the R&D division of the National Library of Medicine, and the people involved. Let me just point out from left to right. Dr. Demna Fushman was an MD. Glenn Ford, me, Mike Chung, and Samir Antani. Dr. Antani will be giving a talk right after me on a totally different project. So, what are we talking about? Our vision of an interactive publication arises from what we think is the future of scientific publishing. Scientific publishing has to accommodate the vast amounts of multimedia, large stores of data that's collected in experiments and research endeavors, and to give users a certain amount of flexibility. So it's got to be online accessible. It's got to be self-contained. So there is one place where the text and the data and the multimedia objects are. The document should have integrity, and the reader should be able to view the text and the multimedia objects in context, not click on something and have your text disappear so that you see something else. So it's got to be in context, the same kind of context that you're familiar with when you read an ordinary article or a book with pictures and text all together. It's got to link from one object to another, link to other things outside, and the user has got to control the objects in a way that he's familiar with. Simple example, if you have a video, this documents system should allow the usual play, fast forward, pause, those kinds of controls. Most important though, the media content should be reusable, and I'll deal with this in a minute. So what are we talking about? We're talking about a 4-panel view of this document. On the left, you see the text as a normal PDF. And to the upper right, you see the dynamic version of objects that you see in the article, like this graph on the bottom left of this picture turns into a dynamic version in the top right panel. And number 3, this is where the user controls the dynamic objects. So in this particular example, the X and Y axes would have those things, pattern or score. And the user should be able to pick other X and Y values and change the graph appropriately. So that's pretty much what we mean by the interactive publication. So this is just a picture that shows video instead of the graph on the top right side. We can have video in chapters, sections, and this is where a table that appears in the PDF article to the left appears in dynamic form in the upper right panel, so that as the user changes the table options in the bottom panel, the columns and rows change. And it's all because there's the underlying research data that was used in this paper available to the user to change these figures and illustrations. So Panorama today, Panorama is our visualization software. It supports some basic statistical calculations. Now this is just where the clinical images, we can deal with clinical images. We have DICOM viewers. DICOM is a clinical image standard. And we use commonly available viewers for that. We can do 3D reconstruction of these images. And so what we have today is Panorama for visualization and analysis, and a tool called Forge for authors to create interactive publications. And our goals are to distribute these tools freely, allow plugins, partner with publisher to create IPs, and evaluate the value of IPs to the readership, and to address real challenges like, because these documents can be large, there's a distribution design that's needed for practical dissemination of these articles. Okay, so let me just go, where do we go from here? We're converting some of Center for Disease Control documents to interactive form, and we want to partner with publishers right now. So in case anybody wants to test or try out this software that we have, call me. Thank you.